This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast.
Did you guys see this? This is unbelievable. What is that all about, Kinger?
Get in here for the real thing. Like, let's get weird.
Maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Doubt, worry, fear, because that's what we're breaking the mold on here.
Welcome to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
And welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast. This is a summer edition. We've got some sweet hats on the table. Kinger will get to those in a second. We've got a lot. This is what we'd call a smorgasbord episode. We've been off a while. We had some Band-Aids on this spring and into June because we didn't have a horse in the race. So we went into, probably healing mode. But we're coming out after the draft. Boom, the excitement is back all of a sudden. And speaking of the draft, we're going to have Judd Brackett, Bill Guerin, and the Wild's first and second round picks with us through the course of this marathon podcast, because why not get right back into it and just throw the entire kitchen sink at the fans. But before we do, let's take a second. Let's make sure we recognize the sponsors. This is brought to you by Pilot Games. Make sure when you're out enjoying your libations, this is post 4th of July now. I think it's July 8th that we're recording this, but it's summer season. You're outside. It's also pull tab season, and when you're playing them, you try those E-tabs, because when you use Pilot Games products, when you use them, your community wins. Appreciate their support. Kinger, you're looking like the 4th of July and the summer's going well for you. You've got a nice tan going. The hair's looking nice.
I've been doing good. Yeah. I like the sun. We're on the lake. I'm very optimistic about this year. There's been a little bit of this negativity buzzing around in the kind of K-fan sort of little circles, and I think everything went wrong last year that could have ever gone wrong. All the injuries, Sweden trip, bad start, goaltending was a little off. I don't know, man. Let's have a great year. Let's defy expectations. Let's make 24-25 excellent. I'm very excited about this Zeev Buium that we picked up. He looks like a stud that fell into our laps. And this Trennan seems terrifying in a really great way. I look forward to interviewing him at some point. But, like all the messages are right. Let's be hard to play against. Let's be better on the PK. Let's get off to a better start.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's go.
I think if you're a fan, and what's concerning a little bit is probably the lack of change.
Yep.
It's you bring in Trennan, who will have an impact, but it's not one of the big names that you saw out on the market, but did the Wild have the money for that? And I think everybody knew that was going to be the case, but then there was speculation that there would be trade and other things going on, and on most fronts it seemed rather quiet. So it seems like they picked up Trennan and Lauko, the trade with Boston, and what looked like a pretty good draft for him, no question. It looked like a great draft, but other than that, it's the same guys back. It's 2, maybe 3 goaltenders, same decor forward group, and it does seem like the group is doubling down on the fact that there were some circumstances that they couldn't overcome last year that they're hoping that they don't find themselves in again this year. If guys have better seasons, like if Hartman goes from 20 to 25, 30, if Freddie Gaudreau scores a few more goals, and Boldy maybe finds a little bit more consistency. And I heard Bill Guerin at one point mention that when they made the coaching change, Kirill had 6 goals and Boldy had 1, and It was a slow start. Goaltending obviously didn't have its best year. Injuries played a huge factor. And we listen to Billy's interview too, because there's a lot there where he touches on that. Hey, we bolstered Iowa, but at the same time, we've got some injury insurance with the guys they signed to 2-way deals, and those are lucrative 2-way deals for those guys. Like, they're basically NHL players. So not a lot changed, but they're hoping that the guys, he's like, hey, we have the talent on the roster to be a playoff team, and maybe a little bit of help and change an identity and a refocus on what's important. Well, all of a sudden they'll be in the right spot. I mean, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and I think with Billy too, he takes that stuff head on. When when whether it's people saying, the critique that I've been hearing out there is we're kind of trapped in this middle six world. Are we going to have all the money we wanted at the end of next year? And I just think get back into the playoffs, build towards the future, and everything can change. And I heard you earlier, somewhere else, maybe on a different pod, you were kind of feeling like, having the goaltending depth could be a good thing too, with the Bus and Flower, and obviously the young kid pushing from Iowa. Is that you still feeling good about that, having the three goalies?
Yeah, where I would have concern is I think goalies just take time, and it seems a goalie's prime is, I don't know, 27, 28. I think a player prime is like 24, 25 kind of. So if Gus had a great year, and I think you saw what he's capable of, and then he signs a one-way deal, he has some stuff happen off the ice, he's got a family, and things change a little bit. And sometimes you just got to give those guys time to figure it out. And that's the hard part about this game is it's a what have you done for me lately kind of business. But I think that Gus is a great rebound type of guy where they thought that maybe, hey, let's unload these guys or one of them and save $3 million and go get a score. I think Bill touched on this too. Look at the guys that went in free agency. Nobody's going for that kind of money, so that wasn't going to happen. I think that the Wild would maybe end up having more egg on their face if they forced a trade, ran somebody out, somebody like Gus, because Gus seems to be the guy. Fleury signed late last year. Wallsted's not going anywhere, so Gus would be the odd man out. I think it's good for them to have options and good for them to have competition. And I think it's also good, and I don't know, I'm not in management's room. I wouldn't give up on Gus. He showed what he's capable of. It's a matter of finding that more consistently now, and that's development. That's what it's about. He's still young. I think he's 24 years old. Like, don't give up on the guy. Like, look at Dubnyk. I think he was on his fourth team when he came here. Then all of a sudden he was an all-star. And you could look across the league. Jacob Markstrom, same kind of thing. There's a lot of goaltenders that it takes them. It ends up taking 4 teams because teams give up on them a little too soon. But yeah, I like the goalie situation.
The one thing I didn't ask Billy, and I wanted to, I wanted to get your take on this. This team has had bad starts
To the
season. So these first 10 games, and historically, when I've looked at the schedule, we used to even call it. I remember our first year doing this. It was like the group of death. Like the first 5 games were against really hard teams. So this year we go Columbus, Seattle, Winnipeg, St. Louis, Columbus, Florida, Tampa, Philly. I mean, it's like 7 of those 10 teams were not in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Then Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right. So that helps. But how do you, I was wondering from Billy's standpoint, how do you check on guys? Like, how do you make sure are you looking at Instagram going like, hey,
I don't think
Busch Light Peach, that's a lot of Busch Light Peach. Like, how do you?
These guys are pros. I don't think that I actually think you'd get negative return if you were micromanaging.
So you just let it. They know what they need.
The pros. If they don't show up, then you lay the hammer down. Then you make life stink a little bit for them. I don't think that you should. You probably shouldn't babysit them in the summer. At least guys that have been established and they're on their second deal or something.
Do you think he'll run a different training camp?
Yeah, that's what I think
will he
it is.
Play the starters in those preseason games, almost like NFL teams do?
Well,
sometimes?
that's probably the catch-22.
Let's go.
That's the catch-22 for the preseason. Like, how many games do you have? You want to get your young guys in, but you want the NHL club ready. What's most important? You need the NHL to get off to a super hot start. But at the same time, injuries were an issue last year. So do you want to throw those guys out there? Like, I think Spurgeon got hurt last game of exhibition last year. And then all of a sudden the season changed.
5 preseason games: Winnipeg, Dallas, Chicago. Man, we're gonna have a little.
5's down from 7. I think it was 7 the year prior. It's going to be a more serious camp. It's going to be a more pointed camp, and there's going to be more skating. It's going to be less load management, more get to work.
Yep.
And
I like that.
I do too. I think that's what it's going to be. But there's give and take there. It's a long season, but they've had a long off season. And I think that we'll have another type of Billy moment that we had 2 years ago. If you remember, what was it?
Why are we here?
Why are we here with Jared Spurgeon? There will be another moment like that where the conversation to kick off camp
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
sets a certain tone.
I think I could see that as well. Hey, I wanted to ask you how is your summer going? Do we have any good Carter kid stories from athletics that you want to share? Have we had like a handshake line incident?
No.
Have we had like any sort of you're finding some chips
No.
on the shoulder? You guys
No.
are keeping it clean?
Yeah, keeping it clean. It's been soccer, so we're running around from field to field. Soccer, lacrosse. It's summer hockey a little bit here and there too. But this is we're kind of in the midst of our own summer of yes. Like last year's.
Yeah, you're going on a road trip.
We were up at the lake. The girls were at camp, so they had stayover camp. They had day camp. They're playing sports. We're tubing, skiing, boating, swimming. Now we're going out to South Dakota. We'll go to the Dells. Yeah, they'll have birthdays. I'm gonna blink and the summer's gonna be over. Like this summer might be the most epic that my kids have.
That's great. One of the things when we had the little kids is we would ask them after the trip what the best part of the trip was. And sometimes they would say being in the car together, because it can be a family fun house. Don't get me wrong. It can go sideways on you, but just being together, not looking at your phone, driving, maybe you make a playlist for that part of the country or whatever. I miss that. We would pick a spot every summer and just go, whether it was down to Florida, to Boston, out west. And yeah, man, get some good beef jerky. Bob Seger's pretty good on the road. Zach Brown is pretty good on the road. You gotta work through the music. It's a long drive.
Yeah, no, it is. It's gonna be a long drive out there. I've done the South Dakota tour before too. I don't remember how far it is from spot to spot, but you feel like they're in close proximity, but they're actually a couple hours apart if you're going from place to place. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
I will say this, Cosmos. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, so there's a roadside attraction called the Cosmos, and it's in a vortex. And you're going to think this is BS, but I've been there twice. I went there as a kid. I would be the same age as your kids now. And I went back as a parent thinking it was going to be obvious to me what they were doing. In the Cosmos, your kids will stand on a plank and they'll switch being taller than each other. You could throw a tennis ball, it'll curve, even though you're not trying to. It's like a fun house inside there. And I went back as an adult thinking this whole thing would be obvious, like it's built on the side of a hill or what. No idea. It's the weirdest place on earth. All the trees are like growing in a circle almost. It's worth doing. It's right on the road. You'll see the sign Cosmos. I promise you, take the kids to the Cosmos. It's so bizarre.
Never mind.
It's really good. Hey, did you watch the schedule release videos from some of the teams?
No.
You saw Faber and Middleton went on.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. That. I guess Middleton's super scared of like all that kind of stuff, but he drives a motorcycle everywhere. Is that weird? He's like scared of roller coasters, but he's like on a trip with his dad right now driving motorcycles. That doesn't add up, right?
I don't know. Maybe he had a bad time at the county fair or those rides.
Maybe a Carney experience we can dig into. But that was a great video with Hockey Day Minnesota coming to Valley Fair. But there was a couple more of this. The Devils did a great one with I forget who they had this guy acting, and then one of the teams they had a field trip with like 7-year-olds coming in doing the schedule release. It's amazing that that's turned into like a creative contest for teams. Do you notice anything about the schedule? Are you excited to go to Utah or anything jumping out at you?
Yeah, no. I looked at it. It looks like the schedule's laid out pretty well. I think in terms of workload too. The Four Nations tournament is in there, so there's a break and stuff too for that. No, I think the schedule looks great, but I think we're Utah twice.
Yeah,
get to go there twice. Vegas only once, and it's on the second of a back-to-back, so that's going to stink for the traveling crew because usually Vegas is a decent spot to hang out. But the other bummer is I think it's Florida early in the year.
Yeah.
Like you like Florida in
Yeah, I wonder if
January.
this is a road game. This Florida.
I think it is.
away.
I think Florida's right out of the gate, like maybe October even. Like it's
Yeah,
so-
at Florida, October 22nd. You're right. It does look like the kind of you can maybe get a running start at the schedule. I sure hope so. I don't want to be holding our breath,
yeah.
chasing it like we have been.
No.
Are you optimistic? It seems like there's low, like the expectations are kind of like, well, it's the same guys.
Yeah.
And we didn't make the playoffs last year, so what do we expect to be different? So I really do think if we could get back into the playoffs and have some success, I think people will really enjoy it.
Well, it's a lot like blackjack though. You're about to double down, you know, and you're doubling down on the same guys, and you get one card. This group is going to get one card. Flip up. You could hit 21. I mean, you could be right where you want to be, and everything is great. You could flip a 3, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're toast or something, you know. Or I think that's kind of what it is for them right now. Is management said we have faith in you guys, and this is the group, and that's it. They've got to go out and play. They've accepted that last year was an anomaly, and that the excuses were probably reasons more so than excuses, and they're giving them a chance. Am I optimistic? Yeah, I think that the team has talent. I think it's shown that they can win. I do think that they're going to need more from everybody. Now, are they capable of that? That'll be the question. Like they're still going to need more from Boldy. They might still somehow need more from Kirill. And at the same time, everybody's a year older. So in a team that's not long in the tooth, but they're not the oldest group, but they're not the youngest group. And an extra year, we'll see. We'll see how it works. But I'm optimistic. I think they're a playoff team. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's nerve-wracking when you look at some of the moves the other teams in the Central made a little bit.
Nashville, yeah.
Nashville went bonkers.
Nashville had the credit card out.
Dallas is going to be good. I actually think I could see Colorado maybe come back down to earth a little bit. They're having issues.
The Central's nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be. This start does matter. You know, we don't play a lot of division foes. It looks like right out of the gate. There's some East Coast stuff there. If we can get rolling, Kirill going faster.
Yeah. Let's also celebrate. I think Dylan has moved to the east. So he's no longer in Winnipeg. So Kirill might be healthy for the year.
Yeah.
Knock on.
Yeah, we don't like that. He's good at sitting on people. And Stanley, that's the other guy, right? They have a couple guys.
No, I'm optimistic. It's going to be good. I'm also optimistic though, Kinger, that my house is going to be in good shape when I get back after these road trips.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Because it's been a rainy year. It really has been wet.
Yeah.
So I'm always nervous when you leave for a while. There's going to be issues or water issues, but I'm not this year because I had the roof replaced by Wild Construction.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, gutters and everything. So now I know it doesn't matter whatever Mother Nature throws at the house. It'll
You're
be
ready.
taken care of. So if you ever want that same peace of mind, you should reach out to Wild Construction. I know there's been some storms that have ripped through, maybe less the metro, more up north. Brooklyn, our podcast helper here, she's from Cross Lake. I know that area was ripped up through with a storm, tons of hail. Wild Construction, they've got people up there, boots on the ground. So if you've got a primary home, a secondary home in that location, look them up, man. They'll take care of you. They've got the research tool right on their website. You see if you're in the area, if a storm has been populated, if there's hail, and give them a shout. They'll come take care of you so that when you go on your road trip, you'll have a little peace of mind. WildConstructionMN.com.
You know, we just built our house. It's only a year old, but Jimmy's coleslaw gives me that same peace of mind at times. It's got this classic supper club taste. That's how they describe it. You may not know this, but in the latest IRI data, Jimmy's is the best-selling coleslaw in the state of hockey. Second, oh wait, what's that? Jimmy's Pineapple second. Yeah, that's right. They're 1 and 2, kind of like Zeev and Ryder, right? That's kind of what they are in terms of coleslaw. If Judd Brackett were to draft them, so check out Jimmy's coleslaws and dips. Don't you be messing with my dressing. God,
Hey, I like that. I like that.
mid-season form.
I like that 1-2 Judd Brackett draft.
Yeah, like I don't know if I need to talk to his agency about like did I just do ads with them in it?
That was
It's okay.
magic.
We'll talk to Sickman about it. It's fine.
That was magic, and maybe great too because of the segue that it allows us. Like let's bring Judd in, but before we do,
Yeah. So this interview, along with all the interviews on the Wild on 7th podcast, are presented by Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon makes hardworking grooming products for hardworking dudes. If your hair is a weapon or you wish it was, check out Duke Cannon. Great colognes, great big bricks of soap. You can find them at the hardware store. You can find them at Target. Minnesota company, Duke Cannon. Here's Judd Brackett.
Judd is a scout. Where do you draw the limits on scouting? Do you ever look at men's leagues looking for some hidden talent out there?
We haven't gotten around to that yet, but I've talked to Billy. That's definitely a department we gotta extend to.
Yeah,
A
it's
seven-
an untapped market.
7 and 7/8 size head.
That's
So
the problem.
You can,
we don't have a helmet for that.
You can't teach that. You can't teach that.
Yeah, so Kinger, real quick, let's get into the 4th of July though, because we're coming off that. I think today's July 7th or 8th, and how was the holiday?
It was great. I liked it being on a Thursday. You get kind of extra time. You get. I think that's about as good as it can be. That's as long as it can be. Maybe if it was on a Wednesday, you could fudge the Thursday and the Friday and end up with a 5-dayer. But other than that, I thought it was great. The 4th of July itself was a little rainy, so they kicked it one day forward, but no problem. Watched it from shore. Scared of the lake on the 4th.
You watched what from shore? The fireworks?
Fireworks, yeah.
In
I don't
the
like
rain?
to be on the day after. They did it on the 5th. And I don't like being on the water on the 4th of July.
Why?
Just too many goons out there.
Oh, I thought this was like you were afraid of fire or something.
No, I think that would be a safe spot.
That's what I thought.
I could probably roll off the pontoon at that point. But no, I just too many I don't know, yahoos out there.
Sure.
I like to be on land. How about you?
Yeah, where do you take it in, Judd?
I was on Cape Cod, so obviously have the restaurants out there too. It's a great week for us. I didn't see anybody on the Cape who had any trouble rolling Wednesday through Sunday, but they all took a 5-day. We had great weather. Big weekend for the restaurants too.
So you're traveling all over the place. It's Vegas, Cape, back here to Minnesota. What's the 4th of July on the Cape like?
Quintessential. You get the parade, which is great, and then it's everyone's on boats, golfing in the restaurants at night. So small town community, but fireworks at night. It's a real good take.
What's your restaurant?
Yeah, I didn't know you were a restaurateur.
Oh yeah, my brother and I have 2 restaurants in Harwich where we grew up, the Port and Ember. They're probably about 300 yards apart, right on the main street, which is great. Music at both. One's a coal-fired pizza, and one's more of a, an upscale, steak, seafood, martini, but then turns into pretty lively at night.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
How'd you get into that?
Parents had a restaurant in the same town, so we grew up working in them and got the bug.
So you grew up in the restaurant business, so you're familiar with it. Then how the heck did you get into hockey?
Well, Cape Cod seasonal, so I had winters, after playing, and then a lot of time off in the winter. Wanted to get into coaching, and it sort of evolved into scouting, and it's been a great parlay.
So like the Cape's population doubles in the summer, then it gets pretty quiet in the winter.
Yeah, it gets real quiet in the winter.
Yeah, some like northern Minnesota. Yeah.
I was just in the Cape. I was in Mashpee and Contuit. How close is that to your world headquarters out there?
Should be about 30 minutes, but in the summer, that's a good poke.
It's good out there, man. A lot of people doing a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, American flags. We bought a hat for my dog when we were there because that's the kind of stuff you get in the Cape. Yeah. He's been wearing it, no big deal. But no, it's great. So you're a Renaissance man. You can see the future with draft picks. 2 restaurants. Just came out of the Sphere in Las Vegas. Yeah. Man, you're cool.
Let's get into the draft a little bit. So the Sphere, how was that? I mean, it looked awesome.
It was incredible. What a venue. I mean, obviously the audio visual effects were incredible. I thought they did a really good job too in terms of the stage was central, so everyone, all the teams were sort of around the stage with a chance to get up and see the players there. But that was a really good take. I thought they did a great job. just seeing the collage of all the players' faces and then the highlights, I thought they did an incredible job.
Yeah, so centralized draft, but it's the NHL's last, or maybe not the last, but they're changing the way that they're going to do it, and they kind of go out on top, I think, because the venue looked great. I don't know that they could have done a better job. But now it looks like next year the drafts are going to be more remote, where everybody's in their own war room, call it, in the cities. Well, could be any city, I suppose, but then the draft will be some other place. Like, how's that going to work?
It'll probably be a little bit like it was during COVID, right? Where you set up the war room, conference room with your scouting staff and call in the picks. Not sure how they're going to do it with the players, right? You're going to want some sort of central hub, so maybe like what the NFL does, where they're in a venue where they still get on stage and get their jerseys, I would assume.
Yeah.
But details haven't come out yet.
Sure.
There's even a little bit of buzz that maybe it was so good in Vegas that there's some second thoughts about.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we've heard that. I don't know any truth.
I mean, I believe that. It looked great, and it worked. Now, there's deals that get done and things that get worked out, like on the draft floor, too, because everybody's there for the whole week, and, all of a sudden there will be a void probably there, and how is that filled? Is that more phone calls or whatever? So, but in your role, does that kind of stuff factor in, being in close proximity to the other 31 teams?
100%. I mean, it's a week of information, so it's fact finding. You hear about who's interviewing a player. We're doing the same. We're bringing players in to talk to them one more time. But you hear what other teams are doing too, and there's agents around, the players are around. So it's just and it's great to just have a week together with our staff, right? We're spread out from West Coast to East Coast over to Europe. So for us to get a week together, put our brains together and have a chance to collaborate together and gather some information and run mock drafts. It's a really important week, but there's also the other side of it too. We get we get a runner that gets to go. I mean, that's a huge part. My boys and my daughter have all got a chance to do it.
Really?
Hendrick's guy did it this year, so that's a really special part that you lose out on.
Yeah, that would be cool. So what is that? The runner runs the pick someplace or something? Or?
They are at the table with us, get to go up on stage, usually carry the jersey and the hat up there, and sit with us all, the whole draft. So when we need coffee, that's why it's the runner.
The runner?
Yeah, if we coffee, chips, whatever, they're the ones, so we don't have to leave the table. But pretty awesome experience for them too.
Yeah. So Kinger, you're pretty excited about the first pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't announce it. They weren't done announcing it before my phone was blowing up with excitement.
Well, I didn't think we had a chance to get him, to be honest. I mean, he played so well in the Frozen Four. He wrecked it for my Boston College Eagles. But plus just being able to yell Buium when he scores and stuff, the Z, I don't know. I just think he seems like a stud. And what we're already doing with Faber and then adding another good American boy to the blue line. What can you tell us about Zeev?
Like you, certainly not who we expected to see there. We envisioned him
top 5 maybe.
Yeah, and there was talk, of him going in that range. We sat there sort of with bated breath watching, and all right, he's going to go here. It's going to be this pick. So with every pick that went by, we had to start thinking about, where's the point, where's the breaking point where we can get up, and there were still a couple defensemen there when San Jose was going. So we thought, this is the first time maybe there's a chance here. And as soon as that pick was in, we were on the phone to try to get up one spot. We just couldn't wait.
So he was the guy that you see that he's still available, and that you thought he was untouchable. So then all of a sudden your list is changing a little bit because he's at the top of it, thinking like he maybe wasn't even on your list to begin with, thinking like he's not going to be available. Yeah,
we ran a lot of mocks and scenarios. We do some historical trends that try to give us some suggestion on what might be there, and very, very rarely was he the end result for us.
And now, what was he like? Maybe the 6th D-man pick. So there was a bunch. I mean, and that was what, pick 12?
Yeah.
So the draft must have been heavy on defensemen.
Yes,
especially early.
And rightfully so. You had guys, not just Zeev. Zeev had a historically incredible year in terms of production as a freshman in college hockey. Plus, he does nothing but win, right? He wins a world championship last April with the U18 team, wins the World Juniors, wins a national title. But on top of that, you had 2 defensemen that had 30-plus goals in the CHL. One's a 6'3" right shot with 100 penalty minutes on top of it. You've got you've got a 6'7" defenseman playing in the KHL, playing 24 minutes already. So it was a really incredible group of defensemen, and maybe that's what helps.
Yeah, and so in some of that, because I was trying to figure out like how a guy with that kind of talent falls, and you looked at some of the teams that were selecting D-men, pick 10 and above, and they might already have like their PP quarterback, like a Vancouver or somebody like that has a Quinn Hughes, and I don't know where Van picked off the top of my head, but just something like that where they had a piece that would be like Zeev, so then they went maybe a different direction and wanted a 6'7" kind of Tyler Myers type of D-man or something, because that helps complement what they have or something.
No doubt, and we that was part of our forecasting too, looking at teams, looking at what they have for depth. I think Philly mentioned even afterwards. They have Drysdale and Andre, and
I think they got like a Cam York, a young guy
York,
too.
so they've circled the market a little bit. So was it they make their own decision, but that we tried to exploit some of that, looking at teams and who might Zeev's a 6-footer, so could there be teams with a bias against him and possibly get him there to us? But we, at the end of the day, we kept saying there's no way.
Yeah, that's great. So when you go into the draft, you have pick 13. What do you have where you, like a 4-player sweet spot where you think like these are probably the guys we'll get, and then you rank those guys? Like how does that work?
We thought maybe the top 5, top 6 were going to be sort of set in stone. Those players were going to go.
Like you knew Celebrini, and then I can't even pronounce. Yeah, however you say that name.
So we thought 5, 6 guys for sure were going to go. So then we were looking in this next group of 3, 4 players, which for us really rounded out the top 10. But nobody wanted to get out, move out of the top 10. The players were. This is a great draft at the top. Like I said, these guys, even the forwards that were involved, had tremendous years. I mean, you got a player with 54 goals and 116 points in the Western League, in this draft. So. Tip of the cap to the kids. They put a lot of pressure on the scouts, and it came down to personal preference at times.
So it also, so you have pick 13, and you trade for pick 12. You move up one spot, and the player's valuable. Are you doing that to make sure you get the player so that Philly doesn't, or is there an element to you don't want somebody else leapfrogging you, trading Philly for that pick? Because maybe you make your assessment that Philly maybe isn't that into the player that's available, but there's a lot of teams that would be. So we've got to jump to make this trade, even though it's one pick, to try to box everybody else out from jumping in front of you guys to get that pick.
100%. It's look, if we have to get into the spot to take him. And it's not just Philly; it's the teams that are behind us. There's other teams that are thinking the same thing as us. That, geez, we didn't expect them to be here. How do we get up here and do it? And scouting community is a small world. We hear a lot afterwards. Other teams we're definitely trying to get there too.
Wow, crazy. So run us through Zeev a little bit. So he's a power play guy. I watched him in the Frozen Four a little bit too. And when the game was on the line too, like he's got moxie. He's not afraid to like hold the blue line to make like a risky play, put some air under the puck over a guy as last man, and it's just ice in his veins. And you watch a guy like that, and you're like, okay, well, he certainly has talent. You can see it, but then all of a sudden he has like the mind that where he's like he's not thinking about what can go wrong. He's thinking about what he can execute. Yep. And there's like a difference there. There's certain game managers and certain guys that take games. Yep. And he seems like he might be the kind of guy that will take a game. You know what I mean?
100%. He's a driver. He wants the puck. He wants to make a difference. He wants to be the best player on the ice every night. You can tell. That's just the way he approaches the game. And if there's mistakes, it's fine. The confidence is there. Like he's going to try it again. So there's some risk to his play, but it's measured. It's not careless in any way. He's a competitor. He wants to win, so he's not going to jeopardize, winning or putting his team in a bad position. But he definitely wants to impact the game. When you meet him and you talk to him, it comes across right away. Huge personality, a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence, and rightfully so.
Kinger and I talk about this quite a bit, but how in the heck does California produce players like that? And why isn't Minnesota producing players like that? You might not have an answer. You don't have to answer the second part of that. But he's what, Laguna Niguel or something like that? Like California, there's
San Diego, I think.
A couple years of Shattuck though. You can't. That's Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah. So he figured it out. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. No, that's good. Kinger, you got anything here? Or?
I was just wondering about intangibles, right? You mentioned he's a winner. I'm looking at these. Your second and third pick both kind of overcame major injuries, right? So they maybe even had their draft stock was higher. They got banged up. They're working their way back. How much do you look at stuff like that? Like, hey, this kid's a winner, or this kid, you had the Finnish kid, right? Said steal of the draft to Billy. Like that takes a certain personality to do that. How do you look for stuff like that? The winning and the overcoming adversity.
We spend a lot of time with it. We talk about it. We talk about character and culture a lot. But saying those things and not following up on are empty words, right? We spend a lot of time as scouts meeting the kids, interviewing the kids. We've got a process in place. We went out and hired someone specifically who does a lot of this work that supplements what we do as scouts too. So when the conversation comes, we want winners. We want guys that are going to be, what we envision the Wild being as a team, and it matters. It matters. It's coachability. It's progress. Right? These guys are all 17. They got to continue to get better. So if you get a high character kid with a work ethic that's got that inner drive, he's gonna continue to get better, and he's not gonna. You see Aaron Kiviharju, approach Bill and say that he got the steal of the draft. I genuinely believe that he thinks that. Right? When we went to the combine and talked to anyone that played on any of the Finnish national teams, they all said he was their biggest leader, who they looked up to, in the room, on the ice. So there's a reason why he wears the C. I would think he probably even does at the World Juniors this year.
Do you, as a scout, you're always picking things that you think are going to be great. Is this like going to other places in your life? Are you like always trying to find the hot new restaurant? Are you like good at fantasy sports? Are you like your kids' hockey team? Are you like, hey, you may not be able to see it right now, but little Billy, he's going to grow. And by the time we're in Bantams, he's going to be the best player in this group. Are you like a prognosticator anywhere else? You got the restaurant.
I try, honestly, all my kids are in sports. Daughter just committed to college this week, which was incredible.
Congrats.
Field hockey?
Field hockey,
Yeah,
yes.
sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
And but honestly, at the rink, I'm in the corner. I'm quiet. I don't have much to say. I try not to, let the NHL scout and me get involved with 12 and 13-year-old hockey. But it is fun. I mean, you see, even at that age, you see the ebb and flow of it. Kids growing, who's an early developer, because there are some things you see with the guy that might be bigger, stronger early. It doesn't always, it's hard to stay on that path from start to finish. Right. So you see some of that, but at the end of the day, even for these guys that we just drafted, it's all about development. Right? You have to keep getting better. You have to push yourself. That's why we want to create environments like this week with development camp. Right? If we continue to draft well, not all these players are going to play for the Wild, but if we create depth, we create competition, it's gonna help.
Help everybody. Yeah. That's a good question. Of every draft class, what's the hope, goal, expectation of how many players from each class might be NHL players? Like, are you hoping two?
I think if you're hitting on two in every draft, you're well ahead of the curve. I mean, obviously it's our goal to we see these guys helping us in different roles and having an opportunity. I mean, from first right through seventh, but the goal, if you're getting two in every draft, you're definitely ahead of the average.
Yeah, and you almost have to hit on your one, and then get one of those other guys to develop into a player. And in some ways, not catch lightning in a bottle, but I think that's a good way to describe what you're trying to do is find a diamond in the rough. Now, is there a draft strategy where you're looking for a guy that has high-end talent that maybe fell a little bit because of injury or because of certain circumstance, and you might draft him and say, let's give this guy a shot because he might have been further up the draft board had he had a good year? Somebody like Ritchie or like that, where it's like, hey, there's other guys in this range that were healthy that had maybe better numbers, but this guy might be the guy that could be an NHL player.
Yeah, and what I think the hardest thing to find is obviously skill. Right, so we focus on that in the draft. We're looking at high side. We want potential. We want if you go into free agency and sign a top six forward, you overpay, right? Yeah. And it's so if we can develop skill here at through the draft and internally, I mean, it's cost effective as well.
What is skill now, though? To me, skill is like almost all hockey sense. Like a lot of guys have the ability to to handle a puck and to make a play and make a pass and play with it. I feel like the skill component now is almost all mental. Like, are they smart with the puck and know how to protect it, know when to move it?
And also, will they get in the right areas too, right? We want guys that are inside the dots and going to get to the net. Like when you talk about Ritchie, like
NHL scorer.
Yep, he's got jam. He'll get there. Like he wants to score, but if he's got to get into traffic and get greasy, he will.
Yeah, we touched on this in the playoffs a couple of years ago. It's crazy, and it's different at I think each level. I don't get the data on like college or junior or high school hockey, but where the goals are scored, like the further up you get in terms of talent, the closer it gets to the net, like where the average goal is scored. And then in the playoffs, even from regular season to playoff hockey, it's still like 3 inches closer to the net. Like you have to be that much closer.
Yeah.
Like all goals are scored right outside the crease. And then playoff hockey, all goals are scored actually in the crease.
And eventually you get to Erikssonek,
Yeah.
which is the very center of the Hurricane.
He's actually in the net.
He's just standing there like this with his hands up. Yeah, all of his goals, I think.
So recap real quick. We'll let you get out of here, and Karen, if you have anything else after. But I think this is what, your fourth draft with the Wild?
This is the fifth because
This is
of
five.
the COVID year. It's 4
yeah.
years, but we snuck in an extra draft there in year one.
Right off the bat. So I think there's a pool here of players that you've selected, and give us a rundown of where you think that pool is at, because I do think that you've touched on the fact that you've put an emphasis on character, you've put an emphasis on skill, and I think we've talked in the past that a lot of times you'll just draft best player more than need if possible, and sometimes that might change. But give us an overall view of the draft classes that you have.
Yeah, I think we've like I said, we've always focused on the character. We want skill. We want guys that are going to compete. We've addressed some things internally, whether it be size down the middle. We were able to address that. We've certainly addressed some skill. A lot of guys this year who put up, whether it's Riley Height and the production he had this year, but watching Hunter Haight win a Mem Cup, right? Those are things that you can't.
Right.
You can't measure, right? That experience that he has and brings here, guys are going to ask him about it. He's going to be, from a standpoint, he's going to help others grow. You get David Spacek, who goes over and wins a world championship at the end of the year and playing with men and NHLers. So this prospect pool is starting to grow, and there's competition at, I think actually at development camp. I think the defensemen are entirely everyone that we've drafted. No invites because I don't think there's any room. We've created a lot of competition there. But that's part of the goal of the draft too, is we look internally at our prospect pool. What's an element that we're missing, right? When you look at round 6 and Stevie Lescovar, right? That's something that we felt we needed to address. We needed the size, the bite from the back end. So we're always trying to round out the full prospect pool so that when there's needs, injuries, opportunities, that we have someone there ready for it.
Yeah, is there anything? It looks like the top 3 picks are really studs. Is there anything about the later picks that maybe for the masses that they just know about Zeev and they're excited about that? What would you tell them about some of the later round guys?
I'm equally excited about all of them, honestly. If you talk about Sebastian Soini, it's a 6'2" right shot defenseman. You'll see him this week. Excellent skater, big body, gets up and down the ice really well. Chase Whiskey had a tremendous year in Red Deer. You'll see his physically, he's got a long way to go, which is good. That's growth potential. But the speed and the power that he plays with, the movement laterally, this guy never gives up on a puck. And even Stevie Lescovar, as we mentioned, he's older. Second time through the draft, and a guy that stands up for teammates, a big hitter.
So he's like a roadhouse guy.
Yeah.
Like you just meet him in the parking lot.
I think we haven't done all the measurements, but I'm pretty sure he comes in at just under 6'4" and 215. So.
So he's a man.
An element we didn't have, and really excited to have him.
I'm excited to watch.
Yeah. Real quick, how early do you start your scouting? Because I just saw some clips out of the Brick tournament in Edmonton. Are you familiar with this tournament?
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's unreal. My son was there 2 years ago.
Was he?
Yeah. Honestly it's an unbelievable take. They play in the West Edmonton Mall.
Yeah.
You walk in, you hear about the tournament, you're like, all right, like I've heard it. It's going to be expensive to go out there. It delivers. Like the atmosphere is unbelievable. The glass is just above your waist. So if the kids go by and high five the whole crowd after they score, it's it's unbelievable. They've got a wall there with all the kids who've ever played, and any NHLers are in red. So for the kids, it's a pretty jaw-dropping experience. So I saw that Detroit won yesterday, and I think it was Chad Kolarik's kid with 3-1 in the final.
Yeah, not bad.
Not that I'm paying attention.
What team was?
I think he answered the question right
What
there.
team was your kid on?
I played for the Boston Junior Bruins.
Okay.
Yeah, Boston had a good team. I think that this year Minnesota was in the same bracket as Boston. And I think they beat them. So shout out to the team Minnesota. I think they had a good tournament. Detroit ended up winning it. I don't think they have like a third or I don't know if they basically play to win this thing. But I think a couple of buddies on the team, Zach Parese's son, Jackson Parese was on Team Minnesota. Everett Prosser, Nate Prosser's nephew, was on it. Another buddy of mine, Bowen Johnson. So a couple of good 11, 12-year-olds out there dangling toe drags.
Hey, what?
Writing them down.
Yeah, write them down. Remember those names.
I want to know more about the dads were all wearing like
They wear like
bathrobes?
togas, like they
Bathrobes, maybe
I don't know.
hotel
It's like
robes.
they party just as hard as the kids do on the ice.
I think one guy had his
Celebrations on the
shirt
ice.
off. Right, he was going crazy.
The celebrations on the ice by the kids are unbelievable in this tournament too.
It's unreal.
Like,
And they have like the fat heads up. And
Yeah, they had like little statues of all the kids behind them.
it's unreal.
Dads had the shirts off with the robes. Yeah, it looked
We should go on vacation.
it looked plush.
Yeah, like we're missing out.
No, that's a good life. I mean, it looked good, and I did like that. First of all, when the kids score, they got to get away from their teammates as fast as they can.
It's the push off.
Hey, to run through. Hey, I got about
This is
four
my
or five things in my skit, but then they just bombed them at center ice. Had to hug, and then the whole family line with the dad's probably getting his gut cut on the glass, leaning over with the robe. It was awesome. I was like, geez, this is everything that's wrong with hockey or everything that's right with hockey. I don't know, but it seems kind of interesting.
All right, Bowen Johnson, Jackson Parese, and Everett Prosser. Remember those ones. All right, cool, Judd. Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks. It's fun to see what you do and track everything, and appreciate you taking the time with us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Summer temps are rising. Actually, the first 90-degree day of the summer right around the corner. But at Aquarius, it's time for their summer meltdown of savings. Get up to $3,000 off a new high-efficiency cooling and heating system. Plus, with a qualifying purchase, you'll get a free whole-home air purification system. Stay cool and comfy with amazing air quality for years to come. It all starts with a free in-home consultation. One of their highly trained comfort specialists will provide options that make sense for you and your home. And that's not all. Enjoy special prices on new heat pumps and mini splits and 50% off an AC tune-up. Don't miss Aquarius's Meltdown of Savings sale, now through the end of July. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius believes in earning the right to be recommended. And guys, I recommend them. They came over, they solved my problems, 68 and sunny inside my house all the time. Boom. Hey, Kinger, we just wrapped up the 4th of July and the Taste of Minnesota. If you're trying to recreate like summer in Minnesota on the grill, what are you getting?
I'm going to head over to Cub. I'm going to get some of their pub burgers. I like them because they got the flavors packed into them already. You can get the jalapeno in there. The cheese is embedded. We're going to talk about my grilling prowess or lack of prowess a little bit in this episode. But I tell you, when I'm in that back corner of my yard with all the bushes and trees, and I'm cooking those Cub pub burgers, maybe get some Coors Banquets like you're finishing the last season of Yellowstone that no one's seen, come into the house, you're a hero. I actually have a King of the Grill platter that I think it was originally bought for me because my last name is King, but now that people have seen what I do out there with the Cub Pub burgers, it's just a sign of respect.
They've crowned you the best.
That's right.
So the best burger maker.
So check out
Thanks to Cub.
Cub Pub burgers at Cub. Perfect. We got to ease in with Billy. He's a friend of the program.
Yeah, this is an
I think
organic
he's a
intro.
5-timer. He's like on Saturday Night Live. He would be like,
I get the jacket.
he would get the jacket.
Go back with Steve Martin.
And he
Tom
also
Hanks.
knew that these were Devo hats for development camp,
Absolutely.
Devo camp, and so that's good. But hey, 4th of July, did you watch fireworks on land or on water?
Did not watch fireworks.
No, didn't even watch them.
No, didn't even watch them.
It was kind of raining if you were here.
Yeah, I was here. yeah, we just stuck around the house. My son had a bunch of buddies over, and all my kids were in town, which was great. Yeah, it was pretty relaxing day, and yeah, it was fun.
Have you worked the grill in the last week? Were you
Yes.
helming the grill?
Yes.
What did you cook?
One night I made some steaks. I have gone to the Blackstone
Yeah,
and
For everything?
everything.
yeah.
Everything. Well, I have a Traeger also. That takes a little more time most nights, but the Blackstone is
You got a big one probably.
36 inch.
Yeah.
You have to, telling you,
That's the ticket.
just go buy one.
See, it's good for breakfast. I use it for breakfast, but I still do like dinner on the main grill.
Cook
You
steak.
kinda
I
went-
cook steaks on it.
When he said he
Everything.
went all Blackstone, you kind of had a look of like, maybe that wasn't the way.
No, I just haven't considered it. It's almost exclusively breakfast.
I got a 17-inch
Yeah, I know.
Blackstone. Had a lot of problems out there, a lot of pressure, not a lot of places to move things. I've had some bad outcomes.
That's too small.
I know I've had some bad. Like Cougar and Top Gun, where it's like it's no good.
Yeah.
No good. Yeah, I've gone down out there.
No,
Hey.
I went. We did.
It's too small. It's not my fault.
I'm gonna
We
throw
did
you under
shrimp
the bus here.
tacos the other night, and I had all like the veggies on one side and all the shrimp on the other, and you just feel like a short order cook or something. Like, it's just awesome.
You feel like a pro when you're doing
You
it.
do. You get the long spatulas.
Yeah.
Chopping.
Ting, ting,
Yeah,
ting,
it's
ting.
just
You ever catch an egg on the
moving
side
stuff
of one of those?
over.
The egg right on there.
I'm a big believer though. I love it.
So Kinger, I can
Oh no.
I would have been able to. It doesn't surprise me that you've struggled with the grill. So I drive past Kinger's house, and most people have the grill on the deck or on the patio. He has his grill out in the woods, facing the woods, almost like it started on fire, and he went to put it there.
Yeah, I don't know why that's there.
He's
I
got
don't-
a grill in the woods.
I think I
If
think
you saw the
that's
placement of this
that-
grill, you'd be
that's
like,
probably the
it was
last place you
100%
should have
on
it.
fire. It was 100% on fire, and for some reason, it's tucked back there because they didn't want to burn the house down, and now that's where it's.
I
staying.
could
don't-
for sure get malaria where I
That's-
grill.
That's
Is that
kind of the
where
way
you
things
actively
happen.
Grill? Is that where you grill?
Yes, and now that I think about it, maybe you're right. That's a lack of confidence by my spouse, just being like,
Let's have you
brand new
over
house,
here.
just built the house. Why don't we throw the grill over here with the mosquito net? And yeah, I'm a long ways away from the house, and it's very foresty where I am. But I did cook some brats last night. Easy brats are easy. Just go with the color. I turn them a lot. I overhandle on the grill. A lot of flipping.
Yeah,
lot
you're
of
not
checking
especially
every
burgers.
minute.
Don't overflip them.
I know. I did do smash burgers successfully on the Blackstone.
Yeah.
10-second press down.
Yeah.
They cook so fast.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
do.
like they're done.
You have to have the wax paper under there
I don't have
because
the
or else they stick to the press. But the Oklahoma burgers with the really fine shaved onions that
Okay.
you pile on there,
I'm getting
Yeah, no.
hungry. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, this
Those
sounds
are good.
this sounds good. Should we get into some hockey?
Well,
We're not gonna. We never are gonna interview you like the other people though. This isn't K-Fan. This isn't Russo. We're not worried about your plan 2 years from now. We're just gonna talk like crew right now.
I love it.
I want to talk about Zeev because of course, good American defenseman, killed our Boston College Eagles. And did you just basically draft him because just
I'm going to
'cause
get
of-
him back.
because he
Yeah,
played
just
well
get
at
him,
the
just-
X.
just draft
It's
him
going to be a real
Because
tough
he played
start
well
for
at the
him.
X.
and just sit him?
It's going to be a really tough start for him.
Just he's just doing army crawl through Tria for like 3 weeks. Say Eagle, say Eagle. So tell us about Zeev in all seriousness, because I know the fan base is legit excited about this kid.
Yeah, I mean, we all are. We did not expect Zeev to be there. We had him rated much higher, as did most teams. I would say all teams. I think there were a couple picks early on that kind of maybe threw the first half of the first round off a bit, and we just couldn't believe that he was kind of coming to our area. It's kind of funny because I talked to Zeev's agent, and we had another interview lined up with him with Aaron Bogosian, and I think they were just kind of having a hard time connecting, and we were kind of like, you know what, he's not going to be there.
It's not going to matter.
Don't even worry about it. But, thank God Aaron had already had, other interviews with him and so had Judd. And so they felt they knew the player. And then he started dropping. And when we got to 12, we had seen another team get up and talk to Philadelphia. And
Wait. So like you saw the team get up from their desk and walk over to Philly? Because the draft is changing. We talked about this with Judd a little bit. And so there's like some value in having a centralized draft.
Yeah, that part. You're right there. Some guys still use the phone and they're at the table right next to you, but then not as many people know who you're talking to. But
Sure.
And we just didn't know. We did not want to leave it up to chance that
Philly didn't take
that we would not get him. So called Philly and offered our 3rd round pick next year, which is we all thought it was a small price to pay to get this player, and it worked out. So we're thrilled. He's a great young man. Comes from a real interesting background. Like I met his parents, and they were kind of got the story, and of their family, and it's really remarkable, and you can see why these kids have such great character. Him and his brothers are just fantastic kids, and he had like 80 people there at the draft, like big family, and he had family flying from Israel and things like that. And that, to me, that says something. It's just you come from solid background like that. They don't grow up like the neighbors. So he comes from a solid background. He's going to be a solid kid, and we're thrilled to have him.
And he's going to fill a need, and maybe we can get into like when, and maybe you don't have an answer on like when we might see him in a wild sweater a little bit, but he looks like the kind of guy that is going to be a stud at quarterbacking a power play. Like I watched him at the Frozen Four, like he's last man back, sauce pass over a couple guys, like dragging people around. Like he knows what he's doing. He's got the moxie. He doesn't play. I feel like he plays to make plays, not to avoid making mistakes a little bit too, but he executes those plays. Yeah. Offensive, like great mobility, but something that I think that the roster maybe doesn't have right now. And would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, it would. And he does have that ability. Look at when it's one thing to do it in college. It's another thing to do it at the NHL level. You have to, you have to be really good to be able to run an NHL power play, but we feel that, the direction that his game is going, his skill level, his mind, which is the big thing, is he'll be able to do that. And, like I said, with all these young guys, we just have to make sure that we handle them properly from now till then, and make sure that we don't, stunt his development in any way, and make sure that he's where he needs to be at the right time. Like if he's going to go back to Denver, perfect. When does he sign? We got to make sure we sign him at the right time. Like all these things. Like, but yeah, in the end, he's got that ability.
And the rest of the draft was probably equally as exciting in terms of, I think, guys that you got. And how do you feel that the rest of the draft shook out? I think a lot of attention has been paid to Zeev because that's on TV. That was at the Sphere. There was a lot going on. He fell. There was a trade. But the rest of the draft was really strong too.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a big believer in what Judd does and how he approaches it and his knowledge of all the players, and it's his day. And the one thing that I love about Judd is that he's not afraid to kind of stick his neck out there and pick the players that he really believes in. Like with Ritchie, he had a Charlie horse injury and missed 40 games, and but before that he was first round talent, and just because it's an injury, same way we got Damon Hunt, it does, like these young guys they heal, and I just feel like he's like, this just makes sense. So we got a good player at great value, and I just think with all of our guys, we all just kind of looked over at Sean, kind of creeping in the door here.
Rice on ice.
Just I really feel like Judd gets good value for the round that we're picking in, and
But that's almost strategy. It's almost strategy.
yeah, and I think he's brilliant with this stuff, and you know even in the fourth round with Aaron, you know he had missed most of the year because of his injuries, but without those injuries, he's a much higher rated player, and his injuries are going to heal. They're fixed. They're going to heal. He's going to be better. This is a long process. So, yeah, I just love those picks.
How was Vegas and the Sphere?
Absolutely incredible. It was first, I mean, it was so hot. Oh my God, it was so hot. But it was the Sphere is it's just wild. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. I want to see a concert there. Just extremely unique, and yeah, it's really an experience. I thought it was fantastic.
Are you gonna miss the centralized draft, or are you gonna like the remote draft more?
I think the remote draft is something that we really need to try. I think, of course, you miss our tradition of doing an in-person draft. But what could it be? You see some of the other sports that have a remote draft, and they have great success with it. What are we going to do? To make it better, to kind of spice things up. It's up to the individual teams on how they're going to, handle everything. But I think the remote draft's also going to be a good opportunity for us to do something special for our fans and for the players that we pick. But yeah, I guess the one thing I will, for me, like, you get around all the hockey people, like, and everybody's like, oh, it's the greatest thing to have everybody under one roof, the one time a year. I'm like, it is great, but for a guy like me, it's like complete overload. I'm like, oh, I want to say hi to him. I want to say hi to that guy. I'm like, oh my God, I need a break. But it is awesome.
I've been listening to some of your interviews, and there's this theme, hard to play against, has been coming up. You picked up the kid from Boston, and this Trennan, his interview was just some of the best content. His sort of whatever it was, his Zoom, where he was just so tough. Like, if he would have got done with that Zoom and just gotten a Camaro and drove away, it would have been perfect. Just how he talked about everything, he was very Russian and just hard. So what do these guys bring? This idea of being hard to play against. Even he said the team maybe got softer after Foligno and Maroon were out of the lineup, but you looking for that kind of grit, that spiciness?
Yeah, the competitiveness. It's you have to be hard to play against in this league, and I think we lost some of that. And the one thing that I like about our team when we're on top of our game is that from top to bottom we're hard to play against. From Kirill, down to the rest of the guys are the lowest guy, whatever. Everybody's hard to play against, and I feel like we lost some of that. And when and I just feel like Trenny's going to come in and help reestablish that. We've always had Marcus and Patty Maroon or Revo or Hartsy's got to get more involved in it again. Boldy's got to get more involved in being harder to play against. Midsy's got to be, like, everybody's got to be harder to play against in their own way. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think we lost part of some of the physical, abrasive aspect of our game, and I think we really need to reestablish our identity before anything else, because obviously we'd like to start adding at a certain point, but it doesn't matter unless you have that identity in check, ready to go.
And sometimes I think the hard to play against gets confused with just being bigger and more physical.
Yes.
That doesn't mean just running around
No.
either. That means being there, like skating, like
Yeah.
being in somebody's face when they turn up with the puck or so they're not comfortable retrieving a puck. And that doesn't mean you have to hit them or you need to be 6'4" to be hard to play against. Kirill's hard to play against. You can be hard to play against with a good stick. You can be hard to play against with good feet. It's different. But those guys bring an element. Like obviously Trenton can be hard to play against because he is big, because he's rangy, because he skates, because he can do a lot, because he'll go to the net. Like there's a lot of things that he'll do to be hard to play against. But it's all those factors that you're probably looking for, not just, hey, I'm looking for a tough guy to scare somebody.
100%. Yeah, you don't listen. This is the NHL. You don't scare many guys. You need to be hard to play against. Just exactly like you said, Kirill is hard to play against. Zuccarello can be hard to play against when he's on his game. Boldy's got to be hard to play against with his size, his talent, being willing to take pucks to the net. Ek is hard to play against. Like whatever your game is, you need to be hard to play against in that element. You're a skilled guy. There's a 50-50 puck. You have to your compete level has to be through the roof. Go get it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what? Pressure up the ice. Work hard coming back. All those things. Like, you know what? Be disciplined in your systems. Like, be where you're supposed to be. Defensive zone coverage, neutral zone. That's hard to play against.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be dialed in. There's all sorts of different ways to be hard to play against. But I think when it really comes down to it, there's a foundation of competitiveness when it comes to that, and we have to get back to that.
I wanted to talk about Coach Hines a little bit. So he comes in last year, and for Karts and I, it was really interesting to watch. He really usually when a coach comes in, you can't necessarily see all the tactics changing, but he just had them skating to open areas, playing faster, kind of in not lanes, but they all had options, it seemed, on every play, and it kind of picked up the pace. Hot streak, a little bit of a cold streak, another hot streak. Now that he comes in, he's having his own camp. He gets to do it the way he wants. He's not a transition. What do you expect out of Coach? What should fans? Yeah, you know this guy well. What do you think will be a little different this season?
Well, listen. When John came in, I know we had this discussion, and he implemented some things that can be grasped right away, fairly easily. Like
Playing fast, like neutral
yeah,
zone routes.
coming out of our own end, things like that. There are a lot more details in the game. In all three zones, special teams, all that stuff that John wants to implement. And I think, like you said, this is just giving him a fresh start with the group from day one. So I think he will be, I know he'll be throwing a lot more at them to learn and to adjust to. And I think that's the beauty of having a training camp is like, so John's going to implement a lot of new things. Now we have to start working on them on a daily basis. That's why the preseason games are important, so we can implement them during the preseason and get ready, for game one.
Safe to say too that for a coach, I don't know how many games he had last year, 60 we'll call it, but 20 to 30 games is his learning curve too. He's figuring out the players that he has on the roster, what buttons to push, what they're capable of, what being hard to play against looks like for Matt Boldy is different than it is for Jake Middleton, and trying to put them in the right spots to be hard to play against. And he's got to assess like, okay, this is the group, this is what I have, I've been on teams before where, over the summer, just systems entirely changed because the group in there didn't work with the systems that we tried the year prior. So it's like, all right, we got to try something different, and it switches. And but now Hines has got a pretty good grasp on what he has, what these guys are capable of, and now he's been able to formulate a plan over the course of the summer and then maybe go execute it with a little more detail to begin next season.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Karts. And you know what, too? He knows the players well now. And I think that's the important thing is the communication's open. The guys know what to expect from John personality-wise, accessibility wise, all that stuff. Like, there's just a little less to figure out on that aspect. So now he can go and focus more on the hockey stuff and just kind of, he knows what he's working with, and so do they.
Tell us about Jack, because interesting hire, in I think in a good way too. Like an established and former head NHL coach that has had success, and now he's coming in. And what's his role? What do you see from him?
Well, Jack's got a lot of experience. That was one of the things that Heinze was looking for, and we talked for hours, about this position and how important it will be. John's never worked in the NHL with Jack, neither have I, but through my time in Long Island, we know all the same people, and I've known Jack actually. I played for the old Minnesota North Stars scout, Smokey Cerrone. I played in a summer league.
I want to know so much
Smokey
more about this.
Guy's
name was Smokey Cerrone?
Yeah, Smokey Cerrone. He's from Providence. And so Smokey coached the Minnesota North Stars team in Joe Lyons Pro Elite League in Hingham, Mass. And I played in it with Cap and his brother. So I've known him since I was probably 16.
That's great.
It's a small world, man.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. But you know what, Jack? I'll tell you what. He's a good coach. He's very passionate. He's just willing to give his time and just wants to teach these guys. And he takes the PK and things like that personally, and he wants it to be the best. And I've worked with him now a couple times, and so has John at like World Championships with USA Hockey. And this past World Championships when I was over there, Jack was just really impressive, and John liked working with him a lot. So, we're lucky to have him and Donna join the team.
Good. Yeah, that's fantastic.
This viral moment, this Kiv Haru says, "I'm the steal of the draft." He pulls you in close for the real thing. What
I love it.
You gotta love
it.
Now, how often is that? Do you get any? Has that ever happened?
That's the first time.
And he looked right into your eyes and was like,
hugged him, pulled him in tight.
I mean, that's.
He
I
grabbed
want to
me.
hear your
I'm
version
like,
of that
what's going on?
story.
Like,
What's
what?
your version of that?
Yeah, like, you just congratulate the kids, and they he grabbed me. He pulled me in. He was like, he had this look on his face. I'm like, what'd I do? And he just said, you got the biggest steal in the draft. I'm like, it caught me off guard a bit. I'm like, and then I was like, wow,
That's fortitude.
like that was fantastic. Like that's the way to say I'm here.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's just the confidence, and it was, he probably didn't expect to go as late as he did, and I hope he uses that as fuel.
So back to hockey a little bit on Iowa. It looked like you invested substantially maybe in Iowa, and there's some guys and veteran guys there. And what's the idea behind that? Is because Iowa, I think, missed the playoffs, has maybe the last couple of years, is the hope that all of a sudden some of these young guys, because Judd's been doing great with the drafts and the prospect pool. Now is it a matter of investing to getting them in a spot where they can win some games and play playoff hockey?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the thoughts, but the biggest thought is improving the depth for the Minnesota Wild. These are all players that have NHL experience, and they're good players at the NHL level. And I think when they get called up, it's or they're there, they're better suited for the role that we're going to put them in.
Sure.
And that's really the thinking behind it. We needed to get some size. We needed to get a little, just a little different on our call-up options, and being able to leave our younger players, there so they can continue to just play big minutes, because we don't want them up here just sitting around.
And maybe some injury insurance, because last year with the injuries.
Yeah, and the injury insurance too is a big one. I mean, we just felt like we were a little thin, and we just needed to improve on that.
I was surprised.
We're very excited about the guys that we signed.
Yeah, it looks great. Everything. I mean, it was exciting. I mean, it looked like it was kind of a quiet July 1.
Yep.
But at the same time, like if you look through it a little bit, I think there's some promise there, and it's going to end up being a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was kind of a quiet July 1, but you know what? We accomplished what we feel we needed to accomplish. I think if you look around the league, and you know, there are teams out there making big splashes and this and spending all that and getting this guy and that guy and every guy, and that's great. You know, that's what they felt they needed and could afford, and I feel that we got what we needed and spent the money that we could, and it's still about building something. It's and you know what? We got to play the games.
Speaking of playing games, give us an update on Four Nations and how that's going. I'm surprised you had time over the 4th of July to fire up the Blackstone, because you're a busy dude, from the draft to free agency to Four Nations to you name it. There's signing Middleton. It seems like you got a lot cooking.
Yeah, I've had a lot cooking. Actually, a couple month ago, I had the USA hockey staff into Minnesota, and we met for a couple days on the first 6 players that were going to be named. But then how it goes, you just start talking about the teams and how they're going to be, like who's available, like who, and there were great conversations. It was a blast. It was, we're sitting here talking about all the elite American players in the game and guys who you'll never have a chance of getting otherwise. There's no salary cap, there's no contracts. It's just hockey.
I never thought of that. Yeah.
It's just hockey, and it's just the elite of the elite. And touching base with these guys, I've talked to all first 6. Well, no, I talked to 5 because Matthew Tkachuk was
swimming in the ocean.
Yeah, was swimming in the ocean, so I got to touch base with him soon. But
he's at the elbow room.
So getting to know these guys on a different level too has been really cool. They're good kids. They want to win. They can't. A lot of them have played together before in the past, so they're really excited about getting kind of their generation together again and trying to make some good things happen.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's gonna be an exciting tournament.
I hope there's tons of hate too. Like it's in Boston too. I hope it's like old school. Not even the World Cup. Like go back to before that. This generation hasn't. This American group has not had best on best. The last time we did it, it was. They had the young stars, both McDavid and Matthews.
Team North America.
Yeah, both of them were on Team North America.
Did you see the roster of that?
Unbelievable. That team was terrifying. I think McKinnon was on that team too.
It's like Matthews
and the hot
McKinnon,
pink jerseys.
Michael, McDavid.
And that was great.
It's unbelievable.
But now you get to. I just hope it.
This will be good.
I hope it gets real, and I think it should get feisty. I wanted to ask you one. What did you? I bet you didn't learn anything, but what was reinforced by watching the Stanley Cup playoffs this year? Like I watched Maurice's speech, and when he was, one of the greatest victory speeches of all time. I'm like, this is exactly what the state of hockey needs. This release that he had, 30 years, right? What did you learn? Whether it's style of play or size of players, or did you have anything where you're like circled it and went, yep, there it is, that's what works?
Your best players have to be your best players. They have to drive the bus. They just do. You can't if your best players aren't getting it done,
you're done. It's like Edmonton 6 and 7.
Yeah, you saw it. When McDavid and Draisaitl weren't playing as well in the first 3 games, they were getting dusted. And, Florida's guys were on. And then it flipped. And, I don't know what happened, but McDavid and Draisaitl, especially McDavid, just turns it on, and now we're in Game 7, and then in Game 7, they're Florida's best players were the best, and it has to be like that, and you have to have those big guys, and you have to have them playing well at the right time.
Dude, I think one thing was reinforced, that the fourth win's the hardest to get, at least in the fourth. The fourth is the hardest to get. When you get that close to something you've wanted your whole life, it's almost impossible not to get caught up in the fantasy of it. I think that happened to Florida a little bit, and then they had enough time to be able to recover from it. But with that, the second thing is experience matters. Like Florida had to lose. They've lost before. That's the reason that they could probably sharpen their pencil at the time that they absolutely needed to. They could shut it down when they needed to. So if you're a Wild fan, I mean, it's been painful having these first-round exits and losing, but it's the playoff loss that put both those teams in the final. As Edmonton struggles to get there.
Oh, God.
It's Florida's struggle.
They've all been through it.
Yeah.
Every
So you have to lose before you can win, and then it's
team.
that
You have to
experience
learn.
almost
and that's why
teaches
you want
how
home
to
ice
win.
too.
Yeah, that's how it teaches you how to win.
It does. It does. It's the pain, that you go through when you lose. It thickens your skin, but you can also go back to certain plays or why didn't we win? What happened? Like, where did we go wrong? But you just get stronger. You get mentally tougher, and you see a lot of teams go through it, and most teams do. In '94 we lost to the Rangers, and it really toughened us up, and we won in '95. In '08 the Penguins lose to Detroit. It toughens them up. We were ready for Game 7 in '09, and it happened. You read Gretzky's book. When they lose to the Islanders for the first time, and he's walking by, and they're not celebrating. They're all putting ice bags on. That's what it takes. You have to learn that, and it's a tough lesson, but it makes you better.
And it's not even losing before you win. It's the journey. Yeah. You have to go through multiple rounds. You have to do all the things. You have to get so close to it that you can taste it, and then it's taken away. I'm not necessarily sure you have to do that.
But no, I agree. Yeah,
if you do that, it can help you a lot. I mean, I couldn't imagine Florida.
It's so hard. It is so hard. It is so taxing on your body, on your mind. Like you have
family,
to be,
like everybody.
You have to be on, like for 2 months straight, each and every night, physically and mentally. You have to be on. You know what? You have a bad game, which is going to happen. You know what? You turn over a puck and that loses your team the game. You have to be able to put that aside and move on to the next game.
Carter Verhaeghe, Game 6, mistakes, no good. Game 7, scores the goal.
Yeah, that kid's lights out. Like you have to be able to put that aside and just move on. I learned that my first playoff series, it was the 91-92 season. We played the Rangers in the playoffs. I remember we lost a game at Madison Square Garden, but we took the bus back to Jersey, and I remember sitting there with Claude Lemieux and Lou and a couple other guys, and Pepe had a beer, and guys were kind of laughing and kind of they had already moved on, and I was just sitting here okay, we just lost the game. Shouldn't we be sad? And Pepe was like, no, you just look at it's done. You move on. We got another game coming up. You just, and that's a learning lesson. You just got to keep going no matter what happens. And as the Oilers proved too, you're never really done.
No.
Until you lose that last game, you're never done. You can always come back. The record books are the record books, but you can always get yourself back in it, right?
Right. No, I know, and I want to just give Corey Perry a hug. This poor guy has been to the finals in 5 of the last 6 years. He hasn't been able to win it. He got his cup. He's got his cup. But man, think about that. He's been playing.
I can't.
10 months of hockey, 9 months of hockey for 6 straight years, It's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing. That guy deserves to win.
That kid's a warrior.
That kid deserves to win.
I love his
Another one.
game. I love his game. Always have.
Before we let you go, so hockey, it starts Stanley Cup final, then the draft, then free agency. So it's like summer starts, then all of a sudden there's like 2 weeks of tons of activity. Then it's like back to summer mode for 2 months. Yeah. Where are you going to spend the next couple of weeks when you're recharging? Out on the shore?
Yep, I'm going to the shore for a little while. Then I'll come back here. Then I have to. I'm going to Arizona for a couple days with my daughter to move her into a new apartment. Then going back to the shore for a little while. And then come back here. Yeah.
Work on the tan, rest the back.
I will.
Are you a tarps off kind of guy at the beach, or sun shirt protecting from sunburn?
No, tarps off.
Tarps off.
For sure. You
And
definitely have.
I've got this.
You got a hairy chest, right?
I've got
You
this
like a
Nicaraguan
Magnum?
skin.
Yeah. It doesn't burn.
No, I'm
Doesn't
made for
burn.
that.
Yeah, you're
I'm
olive.
made for that.
You're olive. Skin.
And then what's the first thing you're grabbing at Wawa?
Ooh. First thing I'm grabbing at Wawa, I'll probably go roast beef hoagie with Swiss, a little bit of lettuce, pickles, cucumbers, hot peppers, a little extra mayo.
God, look at he's not even here right now.
Tarp
Carson.
off.
Look at how
Tarp off at the beach.
he just went. He was at Wawa. Did you see his eyes just roll back?
place.
And
Yeah.
then he smiled at the end of the order.
Yeah, that'll probably be my first Wawa. And then I'll probably roll down to Blitz's and get a pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwich for breakfast. That's pretty standard.
What about beverages? You do like a Diet Mountain Dew guy or
No.
Celsius? Like what do you just water? Gatorade? What do you do?
Coffee in the morning, water, and then
Barley pops.
cocktails in the afternoon.
All right, okay.
It's the beach, man. You know what?
Yeah.
It's the beach.
I like it.
Well, I appreciate you spending some time with us.
Always fun coming here, you guys.
Enjoy the family.
Five-timer.
You've been working, man. Put the feet up a little bit. So thanks for taking the time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on
Always
again.
good to see you. All right, we're here at development camp, also known as Devo camp. We got the big boys. We got the studs coming in. We got Zeev Buium. This is a hell of a between. All he does is win U18, World Junior, National Champ, NCHC Rookie Team, First Team, Rookie of the Year, blah blah blah.
Take a breath.
So he's doing good. That's Zeev, our first rounder. And we got Ryder Ritchie, also was WHL Rookie of the Year, if I got it right, 55 and 61, son of a former NHLer. First round talent, had a little quad hematoma that maybe bounced him down, but he's got a chip on his shoulder and ready to kick some ass as well for your Minnesota Wild. So they're in town for development camp, and we're going to get to know the youngsters.
Well, you got to ask him about the.
Do you have any idea what those red things are?
Is it to make a cake?
It is actually probably to make a cake. But you know why it would be here for development?
Is it to make a cake? That's what I said, too. Looks like a wedding cake mold.
I have no idea.
Okay, so there was at one point a band called Devo, and they had a song called Whip It real good. Dun, 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 dun. And they used to wear these energy cell hats, Devo, Development Camp, Devo Camp. We're on a little bit of a small budget here at Wild on 7th. Had the wife make these with Gorilla Glue, and only Bill Guerin knew what it was. But could be a good social post. I bet half the people will know what it is and half won't. So welcome to Devo Camp. Do you want to rapid fire them a little bit to get them loose in the sauna?
Yeah, it can't hurt to rapid fire them.
Do you remember some of the questions? I got some on my phone.
I do. Should we?
We got to explain to them what this is.
Okay.
We have a thing called rapid fire. We use it with the Wild guys. It's probably going to fade away because we've interviewed almost everyone except for number 97. If you see him around, tell him we're looking for him. But this is a simple thing. You got to answer quick. Okay. A lot of the goalies, they get locked up and they do a long answer, and you can just say pass if you want to pass. Okay. And this will be easier for you because you'll probably go Let's say when Karts asks you a question, why don't you start, and then you go second. When I ask a question, you first, you second. So,
So it follows. It's like a game of Snake, is what you're saying?
yeah, it's like a snake draft.
Yeah.
Fantasy.
Perfect.
All right, so we'll start this, and this is just to get you loose. You know, your young kids. Okay, nickname.
There's a lot. Little man, Itsy, Laheim. I like anything you can think of.
How about you?
Yeah, Rich Dog, Big Rich, just kind of that.
Big and Rich? No, that's a country band. All right, you up?
Yeah, who do you text the most?
It's probably say my buddies. Yeah.
My girlfriend. Yeah.
What do you listen to in the car?
Just country.
Be more specific. Who are some of your country people?
Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen. I don't know.
We got you. How about you?
Yeah, it depends on the day. I'd say it's Zach Bryan or Drake.
All right. So you're on the Kendrick Lamar Drake battle. You're more of a Drake guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
You guys are, what, 18 years old and just got drafted, so you probably don't have an answer for this one. But what was your first real job? That's usually for guys that play in the NHL, and it's like, did you have a real job? You guys ever had a real job?
Never had a job, no.
I love it.
Yeah, neither did I.
No, you never had a job?
They're like, what's a job? Actually, what's a job?
Wait, what do you mean?
Hockey jersey you had as a kid.
I think my first jersey was a Chara jersey.
Another Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sidney Crosby for me, or my dad's, I'd say.
Nice.
First concert?
Never been to one. Yeah, I was supposed to go to Drake last year in Vancouver, and it canceled an hour before the concert. So never been to one.
Come on, Drake.
Yeah.
You guys know what Stagecoach is?
Yeah.
So I went to Stagecoach, and then in Red Rocks in Colorado, I went to Riley Green.
Jeez.
Red Rock's it's like a bucket list venue, right?
It's sick. It's a sweet spot.
It's outdoor, right?
Yeah, it's like outdoor. It's like literally in the mountains,
Yeah.
just like covered in, and then there's just like a whole seating area.
Have you seen this Riley Green guy? He's like the coolest person.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I think he's like Riley Duckman on Instagram. He's just so cool.
Yeah, you made me feel old there. I'm just going to say I know him.
Hey, Devo, Riley Green. I got coverage. I got hidden talent.
Oh man. I played the trumpet for like 4 years.
We got to get that back.
That's good.
That's for a pregame lineup.
Yeah, my hidden talent, I can speak Swedish.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
That is a talent.
I told Carter
You're going to
you
fit
were
in here
Swedish.
because, well, that might throw the balance off. What's the Swedish Mafia have here? 5?
Yeah, and then
Four with Zuki?
Zuccarello is technically the leader of the Swedish Mafia. but
As a
he's-
Norwegian.
He's Norwegian.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but
Yeah.
that's what we've been told.
What's your guys' pet peeve?
Ooh. Talking with food in their mouth.
Mm.
It's just kind of that's
Gets ya?
a pretty normal one. I just can't do it.
When I'm trying to like watch something like on the TV, like a movie, and someone's just like being super loud, and like I'm really into the movie, and like they won't shut up or something.
Yeah, wait till you get married and your wife asks you every single question about the movie as you're watching the movie. Like, I don't know, I'm watching.
I think your wife's great, Ryan.
She doesn't listen.
What's the last thing you binged watched? It could be a TV show or a movie.
Probably Suits.
So good.
Yeah.
Harvey Specter.
So
I just started Suits the other day, so I'm
Stick
pretty
with
Into
it.
that one.
season 9 just came out or something, right?
Is it a new season?
It's like their final season. Just
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was just running through the old stuff.
Who's your favorite social follow? So Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Who's your favorite follow?
It's a dangerous question for a
Yes.
young man.
honestly kind of a weird one. The sketch guy. He's pretty big on TikTok.
Is that the guy that can?
Like the football guy.
Oh, okay.
He's pretty
No,
funny.
is that like the What's Up, brother?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh man. I don't know. Probably like Amats, just 'cause he's always posting something. So
Who plays you in the movie? So this is an actor. Maybe you think they look like you. Maybe you would just want them to play you. So we're going to see the Buium blockbuster. Who's you?
you know Adam Sandler and the Zohan.
Meet the Zohan.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
This guy, he loves everything Z.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. Sandler would be good. Yeah. How about you?
That's a tough one. I don't like. I don't know. I've been trying to think of that one. I got asked that at the combine. Weirdly, I didn't really have an answer for it, but honestly, probably say I've gotten. I'll just say Justin Bieber.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
The Biebs. You're a believer? Is that what they say? All right, how do you want to do this? How do you want to crack these kids open? You want any more rapid fire?
I got a couple first car.
Don't have my license yet.
Don't have your license?
No.
Dude,
I like that you're actually like a fetus. Like he doesn't know what a job is. He had never been to a concert.
what do you ride, camels?
Have you ever seen Fire?
Yes. I
Okay, good.
How about weird food combo? Like Canadians like ketchup on their eggs and stuff. Do you do that, John?
No.
I do that.
You do that?
I don't do that.
Ketchup on eggs?
I do like ketchup on
That's-
like everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I go maple syrup on
Burritos.
my eggs.
Maple syrup on your eggs?
Yeah. That's probably the weird.
That is weird.
No, that's good. And
really good.
if I have like sausage or bacon and eggs but no pancakes, I want maple syrup too.
That's on the breakfast meat, not on the eggs themselves.
I don't care if it gets on the eggs.
You
I
ever
think
do,
it
like,
makes everything better.
That's the hard part about syrup. You can't control it. It's everywhere. All right, yeah. Let's get into it. How was it, like the draft, the whole process for you guys? Ryder, why don't you start? You know you're going to get picked,
Right.
obviously. What's the day like? Where are you at? Who are you with?
Yeah, kind of just spent all day with the family. I didn't really know if I was going to go day one or day two. So, I mean, I got ready for day one, didn't go, and then day two I was looking forward to it. I knew I was going to get picked that day. And yeah, just kind of waited it out and wait until you get your name called, and it's a dream come true. I mean, just go down there, meeting all the staff and the scouts and general managers. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the Sphere. How was the Sphere?
Crazy. It was, yeah, you walk in there and you don't even believe it's real. Like, it's just the screen's massive. It kind of hurts your eyes at first, but it's crazy.
Yeah. And Zeev, how about you? You had a bunch of people there, right?
Yeah,
Did I
had,
hear
like,
40?
No, we
heard
had like
80.
85 people.
85
Yeah.
people?
85 at the Sphere.
Yeah, a lot of like family and friends. So it was a lot of fun. I think the whole day, like kind of like what Ryder said, just spending with family and friends, and then like the whole, like I got there early at the Sphere, and I went like they introduced me with like a robot. I don't know if you guys like saw that anywhere, but like a couple of us, I don't know if everyone did or what it was, but you like go on an escalator down, and because they didn't do like the red carpet outside. So they like introduced us with like a robot, and this robot would like look at us and like explain like who we are and like
Really?
the team we came from and everything, and it was super freaky. So I didn't like it, but I mean it was cool. And then I guess just like the whole experience with the Sphere was unbelievable. I mean like all the like what they do in there is just like insane. And then yeah, I mean it was just it was an awesome experience, a lot of fun, obviously, and yeah, it was crazy.
Who do you talk to? Like, who tells you guys like where to go and when to be there and stuff? Is there like a PR guy for
Yeah.
gal from the NHL?
I don't know like what you did, but they, do you know like the welcome to the NHL show?
Yeah.
Like that they do. So I was like one of the guys they're doing with. So I was just with like them the entire time. So they were just telling me where to go and
Yeah.
what to do.
You're just like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
What do you do with 85 people in town? Are you like taking over some hotel with like chicken fights? Like, where do you eat? Do you have to find like a buffet? Like, that's like 15 Ubers. Like, what did you do? How did you do that?
I didn't
First
even
of all,
know.
it's awesome, but I don't even know how you would.
I honestly don't know like what everyone was doing half the time. Like a lot of my family was in the casino.
I was gonna say, were they there for the draft or for the
I
gambling?
think they might have had more fun than I did. So
Like,
yeah, I mean,
Zeev? Who's
they
Zeev?
loved
That's
They were
awesome.
like free like trip to Vegas. Let's go.
That's good. I did want to talk about this culture that Carl has built at Denver. I listened to him on a podcast and couldn't have been more impressed with this guy. He's a young coach. He's had success right away. He had an injury that kind of forced him into coaching. What's in the water at DU? Are there little bumper stickers hanging on the wall? Like what is the ethos of Denver hockey right now?
I mean, it's awesome. I think what people don't understand is like we don't have like the shooting rooms and some of the stuff that North Dakota and Boston College and other schools have, but we have a really nice facility that not a lot of people like I guess would expect. And I think like for me, like when you come to Denver, like you get guys that really want to be there. Like it's not, like I said, it's not like the most high tech, fancy, whatever. So you get guys who really want to be there, who love the game, who are really good people, and Tavis McMillan, like our assistant coach, scouts all of us, brings us all there, and he does a really good job. And then just the whole coaching staff, obviously Carl, Ferguson, I mean everybody, they're world class. I mean they're great guys. You can have a great conversation with them at any time of the day, and then you get on the ice and it's all business. So it's a great balance with everybody, and I've never been a part of a team that type before. So it's definitely a different feeling, and it's a way different culture than I think anybody has in college hockey.
10 national championships, the best of all, right? Or tied with Michigan.
No,
Denver?
we're at the top.
You're
now,
top,
10,
yeah. So that's literally the best. They're
Program.
the Alabama of college hockey.
Doesn't feel right. Ryder, so you grew up, your dad played in the NHL, so you're around the rink all the time.
Yeah.
Like when was hockey your game? Like when did you know?
Ever since I was born, I'd say, like just kind of getting born into a hockey family with my dad playing it, and growing up at the rink, I remember getting to go watch like practice and stuff, just be sitting on the bench during pregame skate when he's playing in the NHL, and getting to go in the room after they win games and stuff. So that's all I kind of remember is just hockey, and then as I grew old, I just kept playing it, falling in love with it. So I just kind of always knew.
So where'd you grow up?
I've lived in Calgary, lived in Vancouver, lived in Belarus for a year, lived in Switzerland for say 4 years, Sweden 3 years. So I've lived everywhere.
No, it makes sense that you can speak Swedish.
Yeah, yeah,
In Belarus?
yeah. I did.
That's pretty great.
You're like James Bond.
No kidding. International man of mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So you followed your dad played in all those spots?
Yeah. I played everywhere. So it was pretty cool getting to follow him around and seeing every kind of city. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I always think that there's value in being around like a rink in a locker room all the time as a kid because you learn how to handle it and
Right.
stuff. And so like what was the family's reaction to getting drafted and all that? And your dad obviously proud beyond belief,
Right.
but how was it?
Yeah, I would say it was a relief. It was something we've been kind of waiting for, something I've been looking forward to all my life, and it was a proud moment. I mean, I didn't have 80 people like Zeev there, but I had a decent crew of I'd say 15 people. So just get to kind of celebrate that with my friends and family, and it was a lot of fun.
I have to imagine you going into your draft year and you're like, I got to have a big year. Like you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and then boom, you get injured. Like, what's that like, and how does that, mentally, that's got to be tough too.
Yeah, that was for sure tough. I mean, I missed 10 weeks, 3 months, so I missed a lot of time. It was a grind to come back from it, but I mean, I had a good end of the year, I had good playoffs, and then I got the opportunity to go to Worlds, so that was a lot of fun and something I could look forward to through my injury. So it was some I had to kind of work through, and it was definitely tough, especially being the draft year where you're trying to impress people, and
You're like, if there's any year I want to be healthy, it's this year,
Exactly.
please. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I missed 21 games, and that's just 21 opportunities to show myself. So it was tough, but I mean, everything happens for a reason, and now I'm here.
And what was the injury? Is a quad?
It was quad hematoma.
I had one of those. How'd you get it? Like a leg on leg check? Or
Yeah, it was
something?
a pretty bad knee on knee hit.
I had the same thing happen to me, and it's amazing. You're like, they call it like a bruise, and you're like, this feels like more than a bruise.
Yeah.
I can't even bend my leg.
No, yeah, you couldn't even move for the first 3
You're hard.
months.
It's hard to be like, I missed 20 games because I bruised my leg, but it's the
no,
real deal. Like
right.
you can't move
No,
it.
you can't move it. No.
Yeah, it's awful. Zeev, real quick, how does a kid from California turn out to be a pretty darn good hockey player?
Yeah, it's a unique story. So I'm sure, I don't know if you guys know or not, my parents originally moved from Israel, to the U.S. and then knew nothing about hockey. I have two older brothers, and then we just had like a couple cousins who lived in the States, not many people, and they played like 5 minutes down the road at San Diego Ice Arena. It was just a small rink, barbecue in the backyard, like no AAA teams, nothing, no travel. It was just like club in-house, just for fun. And my older brother Shai loved watching him play, begging my parents to let him play. They said no 100 times, eventually let him play, and then oldest brother started playing, and just being a little brother, kind of tag along. So very glad I did, and just kind of fell in love with it right away.
And he's a Detroit pick, right? Or
Yeah,
Is he,
yeah.
What is he? American League last year. Or where is he now?
He signed at the end of the year last year, and then went into Grand Rapids, played a game or two, and then so he'll probably start the year in Grand Rapids next year.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So the whole family, it wasn't a hockey family. Now it's just a hockey family.
Yeah, we weren't like at all. My parents were like, go play basketball, go play football, go do something else like hockey.
Is there anything in the like
Come on,
bloodline
don't
though?
learn
Was
it.
your mom like an Olympic basketball player? Is there something there? Or they just roll over from Israel and they're like, let's try this, and you're just the best at it?
I mean, she was a professional women's basketball player in Israel, so
Oh,
she was pretty good.
Wow, did you break her heart picking a sport the same season? You know, like you can't
Yeah.
play basketball and hockey.
Yeah, we did. I did love basketball. Like all my brothers and I, we loved it. Played every summer. Like I'd play in like a little league, from school because I couldn't play obviously during the year. And then I think it was in like 5th grade, and I was like debating on like doing a split season of hockey and basketball because I just loved it so much. And then my mom kind of was like, I don't know, like who knows how tall you're really gonna be, and like, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'll stick to hockey.
Hey, I want to hear about draft day. So, like, you got to like figure out your look, right? A lot of 3-piece suits this year, like crazy. How did you feel about your game? Like your look, the hair, whatever. Did you feel like you brought it, or you kind of looking back
Any
going,
regrets?
yeah, looking back, like, wrinkled shirt or like take me through kind of the thinking and how you
Double
felt the style.
Windsor.
How did the Riz go at the draft for you?
I felt pretty good. I thought my suit was really good. I mean, never really had a suit that nice before, so I loved it. So I mean, my hair just kind of does whatever. It's never gonna do anything amazing. If it's too long, it's gonna get poofy. If it's short, it's just gonna do this. So it just it was nothing.
What'd you do? What color was your suit? Did you have like the short pants with the Gucci, no socks, or what was the look?
I just did. It was like a dark navy with like lining on it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty patterned, and then I got skulls on the inside, just because it wasn't like a skull like people like think when you say skull, but it was just like nice, like a nice touch, and then I had just like loafer shoes.
Nice. How about you?
Socks or no socks?
Like no show socks.
Uh-huh.
It was hot there, I heard.
Yeah, it was a sauna outside.
Yeah, I went like a light blue suit with a black tie, just not a 3-piece. I had lining of like family photos and
Yeah.
pictures of myself, so it was pretty cool. I wore a pair of Jordan 1 lows, kept it no dress shoes,
Nice.
no show socks like Zeev. So I thought my suit game was pretty strong.
Who does the picture? Faber had that too. When he went to the award show, he had some pictures on the inside of his family. So who does that? Just any tailor just says, I'll throw a liner in here?
I got mine custom made through my agency. So we flew out to Vancouver and we met up and we went through all the options, and then I had to send him some photos, and he just got it done. So it looked nice.
That's awesome.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah. That's like you're bringing everybody with you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he had to do it, though? He'd have a suit this big with the 85 pictures on it. It'd be like Jaguar.
Be like at the sphere.
He
You need a
would be
jacket the size of the sphere.
He's the thing they put over
Yeah.
the sphere at the end of the night when they're cooling it down. So when you get drafted, do guys like reach out to you, find your cell phone? Does like a kid like Faber reach out to you, defenseman college, or do you have any of that, or does that not happen?
Some of the wild guys definitely, like Bogosian, Kaprizov, Boldy, Spurgeon.
They text you or they hit you on socials?
They all texted me, and then Quinn Hughes also texted me. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, keep going. Let it rip. I was just a fanboy there for a second.
No, let me. I
want
so
those guys to text
how
me.
about Excel Energy, right? So you win. This is for Zeev. You win the NCHC. You win the Frozen Four. Have you lost a game at the X?
No, I'm 4-0 there right now. So
4-0, but who's keeping track?
So we just run the table. I like that. But I would like to hear from both of you. We started this pod because Minnesota can get in this funk where we're, we're always wondering what's the next bad thing that are going to happen. We've started to have a little momentum with the Timberwolves. Vikings have lost 4 Super Bowls. The Wild are, building towards it. But when you got drafted by Minnesota, what was your original instinct about the state and then even about the Wild? Whether you were playing, PlayStation or whatever, and, or you knew Krill, but nobody else. I'm just curious, what was your perspective of Minnesota as you got drafted?
I mean, I spent like two years here at Shag St. Mary's, so I love Minnesota. I spent a whole summer here on Lake Minnetonka, so like I love Minnesota. I always try to come back here like whenever I can for summers and train here or whatnot, and then so like getting drafted here was unbelievable. And then I think from the like team perspective, I feel like it's like on the rise. Like obviously a really good organization, guys that know what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, and a lot of players that are kind of coming up. And I think for all of us, like we're really fortunate to kind of get this opportunity to hopefully help this team, win a Stanley Cup one day. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, and we're going to be looking good in the next couple of years.
How about you? What did you know, and what did you who did you know on the Wild, just from a kind of a fan perspective?
Yeah, I mean, being Canadian, you don't know like much about the States, but I knew kind of Minnesota is like the state of hockey. So I was pretty excited.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
That's right.
Pretty excited to come to a place that really loves the game, and just like about the team. I didn't like know a ton about the organization, but I knew Krill, of course, Boldy. I knew a lot of the players, Spurgeon, and just kind of same things Zeev said, like up and coming. Hopefully a lot of opportunity here, and it's looking like we're going to be hopefully good in a few years.
So, Ryder, what was your path? Because I feel like Americans and Minnesota kids, specifically, you have like a different path to draft day. Here it's you play your squirt, your Pee Wee, your Bantam, then you'll play high school. Maybe you'll play a year junior or two before, and then you're getting drafted. What's the path of a Canadian?
Yeah, so in Canada it's a bit different. I mean, I grew up in Europe, so I had it differently. But I came back to Canada in Pee Wee. So I played my 2 years Pee Wee, and then...
Which Pee Wee's how old in there?
That's 12, 13.
Okay.
And then Bantam, I played at a hockey academy. So it's kind of like high school. It's like in between junior and like high school. It's like kind of the same thing, same idea. You base yourself out of a high school.
Yeah.
And you play...
Out east had those like the prep schools kind of?
Yeah, so it's pretty much a prep school. That's a better word. So we kind of play at that. I played my 2 years Bantam, and a year midget, and then... You get drafted to the WHL, and then I played my 2 years there, and then I got drafted.
That's Prince Albert?
Prince Albert, yes.
That's kids from, 16, 17 years old to 20 years old you're playing against there?
Yeah, 16, 20.
Yeah, and then boom, here you are.
Yeah.
Crazy. Now, Zeev, how about you? Because you grew up in Cali, but you've had a stop at Shattuck. You go to Shattuck for a couple of years? Or?
Yeah, so I started obviously in San Diego, then went to Junior Kings, which was like a 2-hour drive, which was like horrible. But obviously wanted to play travel like AAA, so we moved to the Kings, all three of my brothers and I, and then went to Shattuck at like 13. So I played my 8th grade and freshman year there, and then from there went to NTDP, and then to college. Yeah.
So you've kind of been on the road for a while too.
Yeah, I've been away from home.
So you went to Shattuck and you were boarded at Shattuck.
Yeah, and then I lived in a dorm, whatever, for the 2 years there, and then when I went to NTDP, I actually accelerated a grade so I can go to college like a year early. Not like a year early, but like just go with like my grade, I guess, because since being a late birthday, like instead of being in like the grade with all the guys in my age group, I was in like the one behind. Just
you were the oldest in your class instead of the youngest.
Yeah, so I accelerated like instead of doing my junior year in high school, I just went from sophomore to senior.
I wish I could have known. I didn't know that was possible. I would have tried that too.
I know. I mean,
He's like young Sheldon.
Because I'm in August. When's your birthday?
I'm not the best school. December.
December?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, who do you model, Zeev, like, or both of you really? So NHLers, obviously you're a power play guy, and who do you look up to in the league, and then same for you? Like, who are, kind of, not that you think you're the same, but if you go, man, if I could have everything dialed, I'd like to be like that.
I mean, I'd probably say like Quinn Hughes is probably like the most for me. I mean, not the biggest guy, but obviously really shifty, mobile, and smart. So I love watching him play. And then obviously he was a college guy, so just kind of seeing his path, and it's obviously very similar, kind of like to mine. So he's a big guy for me. But I mean, I don't get too fixated on like one guy. I want to be my own player. So if there's anything I could pick up from him or any other guys around the league, I'll try.
Yeah, for me, I'd say it's Wyatt Johnson or William Nylander. I think I watch a lot of both of them, and I think we have kind of some similarities in our game. I wouldn't say we're the exact player, but I feel like I try to watch a lot of different NHL players and try to take different stuff out of their games. So it's hard to kind of say.
So you were on Wyatt Johnson ahead of the world. I'm shocked how
The playoffs this
he's
year?
just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
You were buying that stock a while back.
I'd say beginning of this year, so like right before his stock kind of really rised, and then I mean watching what he did in the playoffs was pretty special.
He's good, man. That's for sure.
He is good. So what do you guys have on tap for the week? It's the Devo camp, development camp. You guys are going to be on the ice a little bit, working out a little bit, and then you're going to have some fun getting to know each other too, right? Like, what did I hear? You're going go-karting, or do you guys know the
Volleyball, go-karting. I heard
Yeah.
some of it, yeah.
Golfing.
Golf, yep.
Yeah. So it'll be.
So you guys are developing, like, how to have fun more. Like this,
Well, I think there's
I wanna
pressure
be these
because
guys.
you
Can
have
we
to
be
win
these guys?
everything.
You guys wanna
You're
be
the top
podcasters
guy.
for the week. We want to be these dudes.
But you got to finish first in the go-kart race. You got to finish second. You got to finish first in golf. You got to finish second. You got to keep the order of things.
Yeah,
you
no,
can't
I
let
agree.
this thing
I agree.
like go. It's not Lord of the Flies
Actually,
out there.
the 3 times I've gone go-karting, I finished first.
Good. Just like that's what
all he does is
winners
win.
do.
That's all he does is win.
Another one.
Oh, so funny. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, do you have anything else, John?
No, man, I'm excited you're here. The future is bright. We really we want to get the cherry on top of the state of hockey here and get that long-deserved cup. So we're hoping people like you are some of the pieces that help us get there.
And I'll end with this too, because there's obviously the chance that you guys come into training camp and have a great camp, and then boom, you're here forever. But do you guys know what next year looks like for you as a backup plan, or in the event that like what does next year look like?
I mean, I think for me, I think the smartest thing to do, I mean, it's obviously still have to have conversations with them, but, go back to Denver, play another year, gain even more confidence, get bigger, get stronger, and then, kind of see where I am after that.
Yeah, sort of same thing for me. Kind of. I mean, I'm only 17, so.
That's crazy. Are you 17?
Yeah, 17. So go back, play another year in the Western League for Prince Albert, and like Steve said, get bigger, stronger, and keep developing my game.
Yeah. But hey, don't sell yourself short. You have a good camp. You'll be here a while.
Yeah.
All right, dudes. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Have fun this week.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having
man,
us.
welcome,
for having us.
welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
thrilled to have
Thank
you.
you.